All right. Thank you for the introduction. And everyone, there will be a handout. I am just the typical academic. I am late. I'm doing things last minute. Half of it is done in
No
2 minutes.
worries.
The other half will be there. There will be a handout. So do not worry. I also know that there will be a recording because everyone is incredibly efficient at this conference. So fear not. All right. Let me start my timer. Let me start my slides so you can see what I am talking about. I am very excited about this. So let's begin. Everyone can see the slides okay? I kind of lose the ability to see the chat, but I see
We
you
can see
nodding.
the
So
slides. Yeah, we can see the slides.
fantastic.
Don't
All
worry.
right, well, perfect. Well, welcome everyone to this spotlight session. I really hope everyone is having a good time. I could see briefly in the chat you're from everywhere around the world. So good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. I'm very excited to show you how Max QDA can help us all as we work through the joys and the many, many pains of social media analysis. Um, I see some familiar faces at this conference. I also see a lot of new people. So let me introduce myself if you've never seen me before. I'm Katia Fugazzola. I'm an assistant senior instructional professor at the University of Chicago. I work in the Global Studies program. I am a sociologist and an ethnographer by training. And quite a bit of my teaching focuses on new technologies and new media. I teach a course on video games and global politics, a course on virtual reality and embodiment. The longest standing course that I have is a methods course on digital ethnography. And a lot of the things that you will see here and a lot of my thinking about social media comes really from this class. It's where I think the most about software assisted data analysis. So let me tell you about the joys and pains of that class because there are a lot of things that I learn every single every single time from that course. Every time I teach it, my academic ego is kept in check. And if you are older than 30 and on social media, you will have absolutely no issues understanding why. The reason for it, like one of the main reasons, other than the fact that the difference in age between me and my students keep growing, is that the social life of the internet moves incredibly fast. It's very, very hard to match that speed. It seems like every week there is something. There's either a new platform, there's a new trend, there is a very obscure and yet somewhat viral cultural reference that it's very hard to catch. So looking at that from the lens of a social scientist, it is both fascinating and incredibly daunting, right? Because if you're ever engaged in social media analysis, you probably found yourself wondering how on earth are we supposed to make sense of all of this mess? And what I want to show you today is that tools like MaxQDA can really help. They offer a substantial help in managing, in analyzing, and in visualizing social media data. So before I dive into the specifics of the program, which is what you're all here for, and we will go live on MaxQDA and we will play around with it a little bit. But I want to point out and make explicit one thing because I think there is a little bit of we need to question what exactly we can ask of software, right? So to begin, there is no single recipe that can ever work for all social media analysis. That's because every single platform is going to have its own particularities, it's going to have its own idiosyncrasies. And because of this, we really should not ask and we should not expect QDA software to perform basically this impossible task of being able to import, convert, map out every single specific social media. One of the questions that a lot of the times I am posed is, oh, okay, so do you know how to use a QDA software to download all of these TikTok videos or all of these Instagram pictures that belong to this specific trend or hashtag? And to be fair, I've also asked people, and if software engineers could do that, right? Imagine, like, they probably can because they do magic, but they could come up with the tools to work with this highly specific API policy system. And then by the time this is implemented into software, things will have changed in the world of social media. So that becomes basically this completely useless chase. So I think that's not where we should put our efforts. What QDA software can provide, and it's incredibly good at it, are a set of tools that are powerful and they're flexible enough to really keep up with the speed of social media. So that's the idea. You want something that allows you to analyze social media and keep up with that speed without being hyper specific. I think like this is a case where hyper specificity is really detrimental to what we're trying to do. So don't look for a hyper-tailored TikTok or Instagram importer, and look for a software that allows you to think about all the layers and all the complexity of this incredibly complicated piece of social media data that could be a post, right? And these layers include things like the video and the image, the content, the aesthetic elements that you're looking at, all the comments that people post, the social context that grounds those comments, and all of those. So that's my plan for this session. To show you the MaxQDA can do this, right? It can help you make sense of the complexity, and it can help you approach every type of social media that you're dealing with, because it offers a platform where you can deal with multiple media types at once. So you can take a look at text and audio and video and images, and oftentimes you can do that simultaneously, linking them to each other. So this way you can approach your project with the flexibility and dynamism that matches the flexibility and dynamism of the internet. So that is the plan. So now I am done with my spiel on the PowerPoint presentation. Let's get into the specifics of the software, which is really what we're all here for. We want to see MaxQDA in action. I'm going to switch from my PowerPoint. It is the moment where you'll see me just fumbling with my computer a little bit. We're going to switch from the PowerPoint to my whole screen, so we can go into MaxQDA right here. Everyone can see my MaxQDA screen? Let me see the chat. Give me some thumbs up.
We can see it. We can see everything perfectly.
Perfect. Beautiful. Let me see if I can close the chat. There we go. Getting good points on Zoom. All right. So I'm like, now that I've switched, I am going to start with, I'm going to show you a little bit of how to deal with YouTube first, because it's something that MaxQDA is particularly optimized for. So that's the first social media that we're going to look at. I focused on this during last year's Spotlight, but fear not, because if you were here in the audience last year, this is not going to be a repeat. In addition to showing some of the basics, I will also focus on some of the incredibly exciting new features, particularly some of the AI features that just got implemented. It's amazing. I've spent like the past 2 days just playing with this because it's that much fun. But let's begin with the basics, right? So let's say that we want to do an analysis of a YouTube video. The first thing to do is, well, find the YouTube video. So bear with me. I'm going to open Chrome. I have this ready. This is a MaxQDA introductory video, which I feel it's apt for this conference. So what I'm doing here, I am trying to copy this, but there's Windows in the way. So let me see if I can do it. Okay, yes, the video is being recorded. There we go. All right, I'm copying the URL. On MaxQDA, after you move here from home to import, you will see nice and red with the YouTube symbol. Intuitively enough, it's called YouTube data. And what you can do here is you're prompted to copy and paste a URL. When you do that, you will have, the first time you do it, you won't have this immediately. You will have just this button. If you ask it to retrieve the video information, this is exactly what the program will do. As you can see, it retrieved the video title. I can see it right here. It tells me that there are 2 comments associated with this video. And it also tells me that there is 1 transcript or 1 set of closed captions that is attached to this video on the internet. The next step is, what do I want on MaxQDA? Usually it's important to import the comments. So that's something that you can ask to do. You can, of course, not do it if that's not something that interests you. You import the comments. These 2 options are, if you flag this, the top level comments, it means that it's a comment and not a reply to a comment. So if you're not interested in the replies, but just in the pure comments that are not reply to anyone, you can flag this. I usually leave it unflagged because I want both the comments and the replies to those comments. And then highly recommend to leave the autocode comments flagged. So the autocoding works this way. When you import them, the program will automatically generate some codes that indicate how many replies each comment has generated. So we will see that when I import this. Basically, if you leave this checked, it will include 2 types of subcodes, right? If you leave the top level comments unchecked and this checked, the 2 types of subcodes that you will see appear are, one is going to be called the comment at the top level with n numbers of reply. So that's if I just reply to a video with my pure comment and then people reply to me, that is going to be coded as comment at the top level with however numbers of replies I get. And then the other subcode is going to be called reply to comment. So you can distinguish between those two. Now, in addition to the comments, you can also import the transcript of the closed caption. In this case, we have one, it's in English. Sometimes if you're lucky and you're working in multiple languages and someone is very kind and have uploaded videos with multiple languages captions, you can download all of those. And then you can choose to include the times in the transcript. And then this last thing is if you are in that fantastic optimal situation where you not only have the link to the video, but you have managed to download the video on your computer and it's housed on your machine, then you can link the existing video file. You can do this, and then it's going to prompt you to choose a video, right? This is relatively rare these days just because of privacy protection laws, and it's very hard to actually download a video of the internet. It's possible. We're going to work without it because I think that's the most common situation. So let's do this. When you press OK, you will see it's auto-coding, it's importing the transcript. Let's see what happens. So the first thing that I want to show you that happens is that MaxQDA creates this new folder, right? This is now called YouTube MaxQDA, and then it's got the title of the video. And then you will see there is a memo attached to it. If you hover on it, you will see the content of the memo. If you double click, you can open it. As part of the memo, you get the title of the video, the author, the link to the video, very helpful because if you're trying to organize and you're trying to keep track of where you're housing the videos, this is completely, like, this is going to save you so much time. It tells you when it was published, it tells you the category, the license, it tells you the number of views. So we have 35,000 views here, number of likes and number of dislikes. And then you got the whole description. If the description includes links, they will be copied here and there will be live links that you can click and see where they lead. So already, this is something that I've done nothing here. I've just clicked the button. This is something that the software got. It uploaded it as part of my project, and I can work with it, and I can make it part of my analysis, and I can make it part of my organization of data. So this is for the description. Now you will see that I have multiple documents created here. These are the comments, right? Because it downloaded the comments. These were the 2 comments that we had. It puts them in a table. I will show you in a second what happens when you have videos that have thousands and thousands of comments. But for the beginning, I really want to focus on one that doesn't have a lot because it's a lot more manageable to keep track of everything. So you got number of comments, 1, 2. You have the comment, and you see what's happening here. You get the author of the comment and the author's URL. This is also helpful if you want to understand like who's commenting on these videos. So you can go and take a look at the official, at the website, at the YouTube website of the author. It tells you whether it's a top level comment or reply. It tells you the number of replies. So it gives you all of this information. It gives you the number of likes, and it tells you when it was published. It also gives you the option to take a look if people can edit the comments. You can see if it was updated and when. So already there is quite a bit of information that you get. In terms of the transcript, I asked it to timestamp it. So I have the timestamped transcript of what was going on in the video, and you will see. And then of course, if you want to say this is timestamped, so it's all like separated, like some of the sentences are broken down, but you can edit that. You can figure out what is most useful to you as you do your analysis. But this is particularly helpful if you had the video file and you uploaded this. These timestamps will be automatically linked to the video, so you could click on them, and then the video would open up exactly in that part where the speaker says whatever thing they're saying. So this is the things that happen just as you import the video. And this is quite helpful. It's a situation that allows a researcher to get a good idea of what's going on in the specific video, in the specific piece of media that they're looking at. We know the number of likes. We can see where the conversation is going. This is quite easy to digest when the number of comments and the number of likes are the ones, as in this case, right? But I know that a lot of the times people are dealing with videos that have thousands and thousands and thousands of comments, right? Because this is an example where you can just read the comments, understand what's going on, move on to another video, right? So you don't need a lot of power in terms of like big data. So for the next part of the YouTube presentation, I'm going to show you a different video. So I have pre-uploaded this just because it takes a few minutes and time is precious in these 30-minute sessions. But I've done exactly the same things. I've clicked on YouTube data, imported, like I just pasted a different URL. And this time I chose a video that was uploaded by Nintendo when they announced their new Zelda game last year. So I'll show you the memo and description. This is the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom official trailer. It was published in 2023 in April. It's category gaming. The views this time, we have 15 million views. So we're dealing with quite different numbers at this point. We have almost 500,000 likes. We have, surprisingly enough, 0 dislikes, which is incredibly rare for YouTube. And then we have the whole description with a lot of links. So we have this situation, and you will see, look at the difference. When you have less than 1,000 comments, you're going to have 1 table created, like in the MaxQDA example. If you have more, these were more than 10,000 comments. MaxQDA is able to import the last 10,000 comments that were posted on the video, and it divides them in tables that each house 1,000 comments each. So this goes down to 1,000, and all of these do the same. And you will see that they are auto-coded as being either a reply to a comment or a comment with X number of replies. Same amount of data that we get here. We also see when it was updated in this case. And then you will see that in the coding system, codes are created. I've renamed it as Zelda Tear of the Kingdom. The top level comments, and we have comments that go from 0 replies, which is the most common, unsurprisingly, to comments with X number of replies, right? I think the most replies that one comment got was 157. So already we can take a look, and if we're interested in seeing like, okay, what is this comment that had 157? It's this one where someone says, I come back just to feel something. And if you look at this, a lot of the replies are same. So not terribly interesting, but still, it's something that you can quickly discern just by looking at the coded segments, right? So once you have all of this, you have uploaded this, you have all of this pre-coded. What do you do next? Because that's when students come to me. They're excited, they have it on their computer, and they're like, wait, what now? Do I have to read 10,000 comments? And I'm an ethnographer, so my first instinct is like, well, yes. But I also know this is just not possible. You cannot read every single thousands of, like that would take a lifetime just to read what people are talking about. So this is where I want to introduce to you AI Assist, because this is something that can really simplify, can really help you make sense of just this vast amount of textual data. So for this, I want to focus on comments that have like 2, 3, 4 replies. We can see this, like it's a good middle ground. They get a lot of engagement. I probably wouldn't go to the ones that get a lot of replies, because I think we're gonna end up in that same, yes, okay. So I would hover around here. One thing that I would like to show you is that if you right click on the 3 replies comments, there now exists an AI Assist button. And the thing that I would suggest you do is ask AI Assist to suggest subcodes. So what this does, I will show you. It asks you first which language you want to do that. I do like the bullet list. I will show you why in a second. If I say, okay, this is now reading through all of the comments that have 3 replies. So this is the top comment that generated 3 replies. And they have been coded as such. And I want to know what is going on in those comments, because clearly they generated engagement within the community. And here are some of the suggestions that we get. So these are AI subcode suggestions. We have, okay, nostalgia and hype, disappointment and unmet expectations, praise and appreciation, comparison and competitiveness. And you have a couple of bullet points describing exactly where that code came from, like why is that a recommendation? And then even sometimes you get things that are like nonsensical, like comments that are unrelated. Like this happens a lot on the internet. Emotional resonance. Like if I were to analyze this and someone asked me, okay, just write like a paper on this, this is probably where I would go. I'm like, okay, I think there is something about it that is that I need to look into. Clearly, these resonated, like there was like emotions attached to this, right? And then this could also be connected to the nostalgia and hype. So that's where I would go. So what this does, it really helps you make sense of just the grand themes. It doesn't do the analysis for you. Like you are still required. Your brain is still required to move on to the next step. But it tells you a little bit of what's going on. The next thing that you can do after you have these suggested subcodes is also to generate an automatic summary of the codes, right? And we're going to go with a medium length here. Basically, this puts into just plain English sentences. It explains to you what's going on in these comments. It gives you a good overview, right? So it tells you that these comments discuss the anticipated release of Legend of Zelda. Many people express excitement. The visuals and the gameplay seem to be something to go with. It's new, they're intrigued, very like you get a sense of what's going on, and this has saved you hours of going through these comments and realizing this yourself. Again, it will still be required of you to then go and do the analysis, but this simplifies things greatly. So let me just check where we're at with time. I do have a bunch of things to show you still. So that's one thing that I will say that you can use AI for, and I absolutely love how much time it saves. You can also use AI Assist. I will show you what the description of the trailer is because I find it particularly interesting. So this is what the trailer is. It's mostly music. As you can see, there's like a little bit of dialogue. If you right click on the trailer that got on the transcript that got imported, you can go on AI Assist and then ask it to summarize the document, right? And that gives you a summary of what's going on. Interestingly enough, like this is mostly music, as you can see, but it still manages to really contextualize it well. Because you can see it gives you like a dramatic sequence. There's a new Zelda title. There are distorted voices coming in, and then the hero Link and his sword is called upon as a last defense. It's also very interesting that this, contrary to a lot of actual humans, manages to distinguish between Zelda and Link, which is like one of the things that people often get wrong. But it gets you a good idea of what's going on in this without ever seeing the video, and picking it up from just like the music in the transcript, which to me is supremely cool. So that's something that I would do. The next step that I will show you very quickly is once you have this idea that is generated through the suggestions for codes and subcodes, you can run analysis on it, right? So let's say that we are interested in these 3 replies. I'm also going to activate all of the comments here. I'm going to leave the transcript non-activated. You can go on analysis. One thing that you can do is, let's say, okay, a lot of the subcodes generated like had to do with the gameplay. What is going on there? You can do a text search on autocode. It's already here because I've pre-populated it, but you can just click on a new entry and write whatever you want. If we're interested in the gameplay and the activated documents, we run the search. Then the program identifies sentences and comments where the word gameplay appears. And we can see that we got quite a number of hits. We have 145 hits. And at this point, you can choose to autocode the results with a new code that we are going to call gameplay. And we're going to have as a reminder that this was an autocode. We're going to code the sentence. And when you do, you have 129 segments coded that are right there for you for easy retrieval. So if you do this, you can now take a look at all the segments that mention the word gameplay. And then you can further continue to do this and then take a look at, for example, you can ask AI Assist to generate a summary, summarize the coded segments, and so on and so forth until you refine your questions and you figure out where is the interesting bit that you want to continue exploring. And at that point, you can start like reading the single comments, and reading 145 or 189 comments is a lot more manageable than going through over 10,000 to try and figure out what people are talking about. So that's what I will say about YouTube imports and using AI to help you make sense of this. I would like to move on quite quickly to a different type of social media because, as I said, MaxQDA is optimized for import of YouTube data. But what happens when you're working with a social media that is not optimized for import, right? Like one thing that my students use a lot is Instagram these days. So I have prepared in this cats in costume folder, I have prepared something if you were to do some research on cats in costume. So let me get rid of this so you can see this a little more. This has been like, just so you know, like no like extra tech is going to be needed for this. I have literally taken my phone, I went to search cats in costume, and I started saving on Instagram some of these pictures of cats in costume. And what you see here is simply a screenshot of my screen that I have then saved, like it gets saved as a picture. You can send it to your computer, and then I've uploaded that into MaxQDA. So very low tech, no extra things needed. As you can see, this is now in video form. I saved 9 cats. A couple of things that I will show you. MaxQDA can help you really organize things around, right? Because these are the pictures, but you have no captions. You don't know which accounts they're for. I have also pictures of the single accounts, right, that I have saved. And I know what this account is for. I know who posted. I know when they posted. The first thing that I can do is link those, because you can see that if I hover on this lovely cat in a gangster costume, I know that this is Esteban cat because something pops up to tell me. And I know that this is Shadow the White Kitty. I don't know who this is because I haven't linked it yet because I wanted to show you here. So here's how you can link it. Very simply, you drag and drop, right click, if I can right click. This is my computer failing on me. Let me see. Oh, there we go, right click. And then you can create an anchor, like insert internal link. As you can see, I've inserted a link. I haven't told them where the link goes, so that's like MaxQDA still doesn't know where the link is set. But I do know that this is Jacopotamus Rex. So all I have to do is go on Jacopotamus, click here, right click, and say insert internal link target. Now, when I go on my saved posts, I can do this and I know who that is. Not only that, if I click on it, it brings me to the correct page. So organizationally, this saves you so much time because it's a lot better than going on your phone and continuously clicking back and forth. So that's something that is quite helpful. The other thing that you can do when you're working with images is you can code them, as I was showing you, just by highlighting and then creating codes. So for the purposes of this presentation, I have created 2 codes that you see right here. In the Instagram codes, I have created not pleased and pretty chill, which I have written a little memo for myself. The difference is the cat in the picture doesn't seem to appreciate the costume, and pretty chill is the cat seems to be okay with the costume situation, right? Why is this helpful? Well, because if you want to take a look at this, I've coded a few of them. And if you're interested in seeing what is going on, all you have to do is activate the pictures here, activate the codes. And here we have the cats that don't appear to be particularly pleased, right? These includes our friend Esteban cat, Jacopotamus Rex, one of my favorite here from Cat's Picks, and then Squish the Lish, who also doesn't seem impressed by the costume. The pretty chill category so far includes the White Kitty and Mr. Einstein the cat, who is a little perplexed, but still seems to be faring pretty well. Now, let's say that you're dealing with this, you have the images. How about the comments? Because comments on Instagram are a little bit more of a pain, and this is where I will introduce an extra tool for that. So let me get rid of this. A few options. One thing that you can do with the comments is you can treat them as images. That's always an option. You can screenshot the comments, and then you can treat them merely as an image, right? And then you can code them by simply highlighting the comment, adding the code however you want. If you take an extra step, because this is just a pure image that I've uploaded, if you convert that in PDF, then you can also make it machine readable, which means that you, instead of having to use it as an image, you can actually highlight the words and then code them there. This works well if you are dealing with a small number of comments, right? If you have 5 to 15, that's doable. If you're dealing with something a little bit higher than that, then what I would recommend is using very simple tools to get comments off Instagram. I was puzzling over this, and it literally took a Google search and a very quick upload. I'll show you the tool that I've used from here. Hold on, I have the Windows. So what I use is this one. It's called IG Comment Exporter. It's basically something that you put on Chrome. It's a little thing. So here we have my friend Jackopotamus to show you how this works. It's a little extension that you add. All you need is the link, the URL. I'm copying this, going on the little extension, and then it tells me enter the Instagram post link. I can export it. It tells me this is 78 comments. It's exporting this, and then it allows me to download them. So I can download 77 comments. If I do this, you will see it saves it as a table. It saves it as a table in my least favorite format. So I actually just export it to Excel because I can't stand this. So I save it right here. We're going to save it perfectly. Jackopotamus is going to be in the Max Days presentation for easy retrieval for us. One thing that I will show you with this system that I found that is helpful to keep in mind is, let me go on the Max Days presentation. Jackopotamus is open that on Excel. Make sure that there isn't something. So get rid of this first window, of this first column, because that way column number 1 has this information. I will show you why that's important, because if we go back to MaxQDA, and we're going to go cats in costume, we are going to go on import, text, PDF, and tables. Jackopotamus right here. We open it. I am not going to import that as survey data because this is not survey data. You will see the fact that I deleted that the first row means that now my first row has user ID, username, comment ID, and comment. And this is now an Excel table that I have on MaxQDA. It contains so much information about who posted, when they posted, what the comment was, the comment time, the homepage. So very similar to what we could see in the YouTube import. And now you can run analysis on it as an Excel table. So already we've managed to have all of these, and of course you can organize it so that the Jackopotamus Rex comments right here in the same bit. And then of course this is a little bit of a mess. If you were my student and you show me days, I would say, well, why don't you do subfolders so that you can have all the Excel tables in the same bit. And then of course, once I have this, I can always say, okay, this is a lot of comments to go through. Like these were only 100 and something or 77. So it wouldn't be too much, but say that you do have too much. Again, summarize the document, right click, summarize the document with AI Assist, and let's see what we can get. Let's see what they're saying about Jackopotamus. It should only take a couple minutes. There we go. And then there we have it. It shows a cat named Jack. It has a Viking style hat. Again, this is something that AI is getting from the text. It's not actually seeing the image, but it's getting that from the comments. The commenters express their approval. It suits Jack. Others note that it's growing on Jack. It seems to be embracing the look. So we can see, like, again, I've picked images where there's not going to be a lot of variation in tension, because obviously if you look at like cat pictures on the internet, most of the time you're going to have people that say that the cat looks amazing and then interacting with the cat in a certain way. But if you imagine doing this in something that has a little bit more of tension, there is a little bit more debate, that's something that you will be able to ask AI to pick up on, to take a look at the themes and then see where you want to focus the analysis. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here. The only thing that I want to point out as a last thing before we move to the Q&A is I've shown you how to use AI. Do not worry, it's not substituting you. Again, like, your brain is required. It's just incredibly helpful in making sense of the amount of data that you are dealing with, in making sense of like how to organize it, making sense of themes. The next step is going to be for you to then focus your analysis. But that can be incredibly helpful to just funnel and decide where to focus your energy. I'm going to stop the screen share so that I can see you all and I can see the questions. All right, let's see. Well, I have stopped the screen share and now I've lost the window. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna go into Q&A first, and I know that there are some in the chat, but let me take a look at the questions in the Q&A. Okay, I would like to ask, just gonna go in order. Let's see, how the software knew that I want to copy what I want to copy in the YouTube link. So basically, actually, sorry, I just realized that these have been answered. So I'm gonna skip the ones that have been answered smartly enough. There we go. Okay. Um, how do we mass download? There is no current way to mass download it. I would also not recommend it. Like it's gonna put like a huge strain on your computer. So I think like if you want to mass download, what you want to do is identify the parts that like the videos that you want to download, open a number of tabs so that it stays manageable for you. The danger of mass downloading is that if we have a tool to do that and we're going to download, say, everything that has cast of Instagram hashtag, your computer is going to be running for like 3 years. And you're going to have so much stuff that it's going to be almost impossible to make sense of it. So I'm an ethnographer by training, so I'm all for the qualitative approach. I'm like, just spend some time there, click on the links, get into all those rabbit holes, and then figure out what the important pieces of media that you want to analyze are. That would be my recommendation. Okay. Oh, that was also answered. It was just unlinked. Okay, let me see what I can do. There is limits, 2 questions. Okay, very good. I love being useless. That's great. So many of these questions have been answered. Great. Okay. Can I know what type of resources can be used for? Yes, absolutely. So this can be used for a lot of different types of research, right? You can do qualitative content analysis. I am a digital ethnographer or a regular ethnographer, and just an ethnographer in general. You can use it to do that. You can use it if you're doing something that has any type of media in it. Even if you're doing quantitative research, it's very helpful sometimes to really focus and qualitatively approach a specific type of media. I have students that use it for like grounded theory. I have a lot of students from the media department that do different types of analysis from sociological analysis, but that has a lot of resonance with it. So I usually have like students who are anthropologists in training, sociologists in training, many ethnographers. Sometimes I have people that just want to familiarize themselves with the community because they have an interview-based project that they want to do, but they need to be familiar with the conversations that are happening within the community. Sometimes it's also helpful, like if they're doing like say, like they're writing an article on conversations on like traditional media, but they need to figure out what the social media conversation about that is. That can also be helpful. There are resources for this session. I am just a little behind with this, but you will have a link to this presentation, the video. There will be a handout. I have the handout for YouTube so far. The handout for Instagram, you will see it just has the title. So bear with me, it will be there. How do you annotate YouTube videos with MaxQDA? So if you are in that very lucky position where you have the video on your computer, you can code the video itself. So it will open in a pop-up window. It's going to have basically like the audio file linked to it, and you can drag and drop and then add a code like you would on a piece of text. But it's the exact same process. But it does require you to have the video physically on your computer. Would you have recommendations on how to retrieve Twitter data? That is a pain because Twitter, like when it renamed itself with the new X, it's changed. It's the API policies have changed. It is getting harder and harder to get data. So you kind of have to chase a moving target there. There are programs that are just optimized for like web scraping on Twitter. And those are the ones that are just specialized on that, and they keep changing those changes in policies. So I would look into those, but anything that I tell you now, like I don't have any off the top of my head, but anything that I tell you now will probably be outdated because last time I taught the course was a few months ago. It's just a matter of figuring out what is the most up-to-date software for that. The good thing is that usually you then get an output that is in Excel tables. That's something that you can then upload in MaxQDA. To download YouTube videos, same thing. There are tools out there, but they keep changing. How can I anonymize YouTube comments? Yes, you can anonymize YouTube comments because you can kind of like, you can either get rid of the whole column, like you can just eliminate that, or you can go in edit mode and then change it. Because like I wouldn't recommend like getting rid of the whole column unless you're really not interested in who's making the comments. But you can edit, like if you know that there are like some commenters that you really want to talk about in your paper, and you have a nickname for them, then you can change that. And you can even like track the word and then change it manually. Okay. The suggested subcode by AI assist appear in the code system. No, you have to create them manually. Which at first I was surprised by, but I actually think is a really good idea because it would really become like a bit of a messed up code. And some of those are really, really helpful. Some of those I'm like, well, duh, of course people are hyped for this. It's one of those things where you really want to pick and choose. I think it is helpful for us to be like the ones that have to put the code in there manually. TikTok posts. I understand. It's also one of the questions that I get. So far, I have not encountered a tool that allows you to import TikTok posts. That is due to the TikTok privacy settings and their system. There's also, again, I wouldn't recommend anyone getting in the business of scraping the internet to go into TikTok because it changes so quickly. Like every 3 days, it seems there is a congressional hearing on whether we should ban TikTok or not. So it's really hard to get that. When students do projects on TikTok, usually I tell them to go and observe as much as they can. If they really, really need a video, I mean, just go low tech, record your phone, like use a second phone to record the phone. Like if you really, really need the video. But so far there is no tool out there that I see it. You can do sentiment analysis with YouTube comments. That's the question. Can I do sentiment analysis with YouTube comments? Yes, absolutely. You can. You can use that because they are in a table. You can run sentiment analysis on it. Okay, and then can you make an example for video analysis? Any examples? Like yes, you can say like you have like the video of the Zelda trailer that I showed. There is mostly music. You could like go into the video if you have the video on your computer, and then code whenever you have like that instrumental music at the beginning. You can take a look and make a code or make a note or make a memo that says what is going on exactly in the video there. And then it's helpful to know that this music corresponds to this scene. Do you recommend using AI Assist for coding survey data? I think I would recommend playing with it for sure. Again, it is not going to substitute a researcher. So as always with AI tools, take that with a grain of salt, but it is incredibly helpful, like to just get a first view of what is going on thematically. And then it will require you to go and check that that is indeed correct, and that is a good reading. But it helps if you have like large amounts of data, take a look at that and then see what's going on. Any comments on the stance of scraping rules, LinkedIn? I actually do not know anything about that. So unfortunately, I'm not familiar with LinkedIn, HiQ Labs. Bulk import, I will tell you this, bulk import is always tricky just because of privacy laws. Screenshots become heavy. How do we downsize images? Good point. Yes, I think you can, like if you convert those into PDFs, that saves a lot. You can even just do the reduced size PDF. That is quite helpful, especially because nowadays screenshots are incredibly heavy, as if we need like super high resolution screenshots. How can I analyze Facebook and Twitter reposts and quotes plus comments? A similar way that you can do that with Instagram, like it might require an extra scraping tool. If you are not dealing with huge numbers, screenshot and then copy that. That is the same idea. And then how do you hide ID from Instagram posts? I think same thing there. You can go into edit mode and you can go into the table and change that. Okay, there will be, I don't know where the handout link is, but I know that I will send the updated handout. There is a partial handout now somewhere.
No worries, we already sent a handout link, and yeah, the resources will be available. So yeah.
Yeah. Yes, and then let me see. I'm almost at the end of the session and I'm almost at the end of the questions. You are not forced to transcribe the video or text before the analysis. You can go straight to the video if that's not something that interests you. Let me see. We've talked about TikTok. Let's see. I think at least on the Q&A, I can see that. I have an audio that has both French and English speakers. Yes, if you have multiple speakers in multiple languages, if the transcript attached to it is available in multiple languages, MaxGDA will handle this. Remember, MaxGDA is not actually listening to the video and then transcribing. It's pulling the transcript that is already attached to the video online. So if the transcript is there in those languages, then you're going to be okay.